Hey everyone, how's it going? Butterfree and Beedrill are the most iconic Gen 1 bug Pokemon. In fact, they might be two of the most iconic bug Pokemon of all time. The sad thing is, in most games, you can't use both of them at once. Well, in this special version of Pokemon FireRed, you can. Thanks to @sign, who's done a lot of work for huge creators like Smallant and PointGrow. He made this for me a few years ago, and today we're going to see if we can beat this mod of FireRed with just Butterfree and Beedrill. For the most part, this is a completely normal game of Pokemon FireRed. The only changes are, of course, every battle except for the first one, when we only have one Pokemon, is going to be a double battle. And we change the starter, so instead of Bulbasaur, we get ourselves a Caterpie. And once we make sure we have a good Caterpie, we're ready to, well, not start quite yet. We have to get to Viridian Forest and catch a Weedle, and make sure that Weedle has good stats. Then we have to go through the tedious process of evolving both Caterpie and Weedle into Metapod and Kakuna, and then we'll have to do it again. But after that, we're ready to go. But first, a big thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Manscaped.com. Today we're going to feature the Chairman Pro package, which they've so nicely sent me. And this all-in-one set includes everything you need for a perfect shave every time. So let's start off by talking about the electric foil shaver itself, the Chairman Pro. And it's really comfortable to use with its 360-degree contouring head. Makes it really comfortable on both the face and neck area. And its skin-safe technology helps reduce both razor burn and irritation. But like I said at the beginning, you're going to get everything you need to get the perfect shave, including the Power Shave Gel to get the ultimate wet shave experience. You're going to put this on before you use your Chairman Pro, and it's going to help provide a very smooth, comfortable shave. Now, after you're done shaving, they have the Face Shave Soother. This should help hydrate your skin and soothe any post-shave irritation. So if you're like me and looking to upgrade the same razor you've been using for the last 10 years, well, the Chairman Pro package is the way to go. And good news, I have a promo code. First off, you can click the link in the description or pinned comment, and then you can use the promo code JROSE for 20% off your order and free shipping. All right, so let's get started with Brock. In this game, of course, he's going to send out both Onix and Geodude. The Geodude, just like Red and Blue, only knows Tackle, but the Onix, on the other hand, has Rock Tomb, which can one-shot Butterfree. However, Brock's AI is not good AI like from Generation 1, and so it seems like he's just attacking kind of randomly. Thankfully, it takes a while for him to knock out Beedrill, but he then knocks out Butterfree, which is double weak to Rock Tomb, so yeah, that first battle didn't go super great. Now, in theory, I could have leveled up both Butterfree and Beedrill, and for the sake of this run, I'm going to try to keep them the same level, but that's boring and tedious. Why not just get really good RNG by both poisoning and confusing the Onix? I mean, if I had just leveled them up, this would have been so much easier. But once Onix is knocked out, Geodude can do very little, and now both Butterfree and Beedrill level up to level 11. This run, I think, will be a good test of how much easier, harder, or the same double battle mods are, because it does change a lot of things having 2v2, especially when you're using bug Pokemon that don't have a ton of moves they can learn. So this is going to be really interesting, I think. Alright, so next battle I decide to do is Rival 2. And this battle will be interesting because we have the Abra out there that can't really do anything. Of course, Pidgeotto's Gust in this version is a flying type attack, so we've got to knock it out, but right now we are essentially 2v1ing Pidgeotto. Unfortunately for me, Beedrill faints, but technically we're still in a 1v1, and now Butterfree is going to get a really great move in Sleep Powder. And with Sleep Powder, theoretically, we can actually make this like a 1v0. Charmander does outspeed me, which sucks, but I am able to put it to sleep. It is a few levels higher. If you're wondering why I'm so under-leveled, I mean, the game just isn't necessarily as balanced for leveling up 2 Pokemon the way it is for leveling 1. Charmander does get an Ember off, but we're able to knock it out. And now the final Pokemon is Rattata. It goes for Quick Attack, but we do put it to sleep. We're getting pretty lucky there. Confusion isn't quite doing half, and we do outspeed Rattata, and we've confused it. We knock it out, and now the battle is over. Sadly, Beedrill is going to have to make up some experience points, but with some wild battles, which are single battles, we're going to be able to do that. And hey, I'll take the first try victory here. Another thing that actually interests me about this run, by the way, is whether one Pokemon gets significantly over-leveled would be an indicator that it's probably more useful or it just survives better. Maybe a little bit of luck, but it is going to be interesting whether it's going to be Butterfree doing a lot of the work with Sleep Powder, or whether Beedrill's really good moves and attack power are going to be more useful. Not sure yet. After finishing up with the northern routes, we battle Misty. Sadly, we don't have Twin Needle quite yet. Really sucks, this would have been great. Now, Starmie is a very big problem. I do have Thief on Butterfree, because why not? It is super effective and a special attacking move. But Staryu and Starmie are pretty good. Of course, they still just attack randomly, which is pretty good. But what's very bad is Misty has a super potion. So I'm trying to confuse, I'm trying to knock it out. We are defending pretty well, and maybe in retrospect, I probably should have targeted Starmie. It would have been a little easier. And it looks like after confusing Beedrill, this may be the end of the battle. Beedrill faints. Butterfree does knock out Starmie though. So maybe hold that. You know what? It's fine. I would have won, but hey, you know what else I could do? And I'm going to try to maybe avoid doing this too much, but we can just put everything to sleep. In double battles, sleep is actually a lot more deadly in a way, because now we're basically 2v0 instead of 1v0. I mentioned this in my Coliseum video. It's basically like attacking your life points directly from Yu-Gi-Oh! You just don't want the situation to occur. And if you put things to sleep, it just makes it almost impossible for Misty to do anything. So yeah, sleep is something I'm gonna have to think about. I mean, we would have won anyway, and now Beedrill gets Twin Needle, which would have been pretty good. The downside of sleep is that if I get outsped and against something like a Charizard, for example, won't be able to do that, but it is a very powerful tool that Butterfree has at its disposal. Against Rival 3, I opt for more quote-unquote traditional strategies, but at this point, I'm actually over-leveled, and you can see Beedrill has a cool new move. Instead of Body Slam, you get Brick Break, and although I actually meant to hit Raticate, it's okay, I knock out Pidgeotto, which is fine. Now, I'm gonna go Twin Needle, and I'm gonna go Confusion. The reason I go Twin Needle is Kadabra is actually very scary. It's a great Pokemon, you know? And once we knock it out, we have Charmeleon remaining. So I gotta get rid of the Raticate. This is where knowledge of how double battles work in targeting makes sense. In double battles, if you knock out a Pokemon, then it'll just automatically switch to the other, which is pretty useful. And so the reason I double targeted Raticate is that I wanted to make sure I knock it out. But unlike in Generation 4, if you're used to those double battles, in Gen 3 only, the next Pokemon is sent out immediately. In Gen 4, it's at the beginning of the next quote-unquote round. That makes Gen 3 double battles very interesting because you really have to be intentional with which Pokemon you target, because if a Pokemon gets knocked out early, you're just going to attack a Pokemon that can't even attack you this round. So kind of a wasted attack if you ask me. Alright, so on to Surge. He's going to send out Pikachu and Voltorb, and we have pretty good attacks. We don't quite have... Oh wow, actually that did a lot of damage. But we knock out Voltorb, which is pretty good, and Beedrill levels up. Raichu comes out next. Butterfree is paralyzed, which is bad. Raichu then goes for Double Team, which is really bad in double battles. And then Pikachu goes for Double Team, and I'm paralyzed. Uh-oh. Well, Raichu goes for Shockwave, which isn't as good as Thunderbolt, and he targets Beedrill, which is much better. And we actually get the very clutch Poison. Of course, I double targeted it, so no way of knowing that. Now here's where a problem happens. Pikachu knocks out Beedrill, and I have a Meowth here to cut in order to get into the gym. Now in a solo run, this is common, we don't need to worry about this, but in a duo run, this means if one Pokemon gets knocked out, if I have any other Pokemon in reserve, technically I'd have to reset, which is pretty annoying, to be honest with you. In many cases, we can deposit the Pokemon before the battle, but unfortunately, in this specific battle, because I don't want to teach Beedrill Cut and waste the move slot, it's just not possible. Anyway, we're going to actually target both Pikachu and Voltorb. I did that intentionally, because now Raichu comes out. I can then go for Twin Needle on the Voltorb, which I thought would knock it out, and then Confusion on the Raichu, which I hoped would confuse it. Raichu is now +2 in evasion, but thankfully both my moves hit. I even get a crit and a confusion. Surge has a super potion, so we're not done yet. but the accuracy luck has been insane. Surge then uses a full heal to cure itself of confusion, but somehow the double teams do nothing, and as if we had Shockwave, we were able to beat Lieutenant Surge, technically on our second try, but y'all know we would have won on our first. Alright, so Whitgag is in this game. He actually has a name here, Dudley, but in this game he's quite a bit easier. He's also easier when you have Brick Break. We can knock out one of the Geodude. Also, if it does go for Self-Destruct, oh, actually Rock Throw is pretty bad too, but if it did go for Self-Destruct, it would hurt the other Pokemon, so not really a great strategy. Anyway, that's not what happens, and Brick Break Confusion deals with them. So, suffice to say, right now, Beedrill and Butterfree are doing quite a bit better than I expected. But you know what? After doing so many of these impossible runs, that's okay if a run goes better than I hope. In the past, I wouldn't release a run if it was just too good, or I felt like it wasn't difficult enough. But really, each run has its own unique narrative, and I think this one is interesting. And if you want something more difficult, I'm thinking of doing Emerald with Plusle and Minun, both of whom are basically the same Pokemon. So that could be interesting, but that's just an idea. Let me know if you want to see that. Anyway, let's fast forward a bit to Giovanni number 1. He has an Onix and Rhyhorn, and I actually forgot to heal. So you'll notice that I'm using Brick Break, but I also have Psychic. I thought it would do more damage, and that was a mistake. And once again, I have that Meowth, although it faints right away, so maybe we could continue? I don't know. Technically, it absorbed a hit, so not sure what to make of that. Didn't end up mattering anyway because I lost, so whatever. I do, though, definitely think that that can't count. It's not even a Spirit of the Rules thing. It literally attacked a Pokemon that wasn't Beedrill, making Beedrill better. I wish HMs weren't a thing. Theoretically, you could always mod those out, but one thing you might notice about most of the runs I do on the channel, unless I'm explicitly doing a mod by someone like Smith Blaze, by the way, we're going to do Emerald Legacy soon, but in most cases, I like the game to be as vanilla, as normal as possible, because I still like that feeling like I'm using my Game Boy on a road trip, trying to do some stupid challenge because I'm in the car for 4 hours. Actually, it was more like the train to Ottawa. Ooh, J-Rose lore. But yeah, anyway, back to the run. Turns out not being at like 0 health really helps for Butterfree, and also recognizing that we aren't going to do as much damage with Brick Break or Psychic that I thought. And that's okay. It happens. Sometimes I think I'm going to do much more than I will. And against Kangaskhan, I actually do much less than I thought again. I mean, I figured Psychic's a really good attack, but on a non-Psychic Pokemon, I guess it just really isn't that effective. So, something to keep in mind. And like we were talking about earlier, don't write off Beedrill's powerful attacking moves. It's a lot better than most of you probably thought. And right now, it's gotten me to a pretty good point of the game, and I'm not over-leveled, which is pretty cool. Now, I'm not going to forget Erika in this run. We're going to use both Beedrill and Butterfree, but Butterfree is paralyzed, which I'm hoping wouldn't matter because Beedrill does have Twin Needle. Now, in Generation 3, it's not double super effective, but a critical hit Psychic is effectively double super effective, which is kind of cool. Now, the reason I didn't really care is more for a defensive reason. I mean, offensively, we knocked out Tangela, but defensively, there's just so little Vileplume or Victory Bell could do to Pokemon that double resist grass moves. So, unfortunately for Erika, this battle was never going to go in her favor. There aren't many matchups in which Butterfree and Beedrill are just unstoppable. Against grass Pokemon is the one, but sadly for us, there aren't many grass matchups left, or almost any at all. Alright, so on to Rival 4. We have Twin Needle for Execute, and I'm just going to go Psychic on the Pidgeotto. It wasn't a one-shot. I mean, it was, but like it took the 2 hits. And then Psychic does one-shot. We're getting pretty clutch critical hits. It's like Gen 1 Alakazam over here. So I'm going to Twin Needle the Kadabra. That does one-shot. Again, we get 2 hits. And then Intimidate Gyarados is something that is going to be a huge problem. This is something that in Generation 1 we never have to deal with, and Beedrill specifically is going to be very affected. I try to poison Gyarados, it doesn't work, but I do knock out Charizard. Pursuit, even though it's a special attack, I don't need it. It goes for Thrash, which is fine. We get the poison. Unfortunately, it knocks out Beedrill, and I forgot to deposit Pokemon. And so we win, and the question is, am I going to keep this or not? And honestly, I chose to keep it because if anything, Meowth didn't help me in any measurable way and actually took half of my experience points. Let me be clear, this is an example where I could have theoretically deposited it, but it's just really annoying to keep going back and forth to the PC. This is something that during the Elite Four, the most interesting battles, we won't have to deal with. But yeah, hopefully this doesn't come up too many times. It's honestly something I don't remember being this prevalent in the Kakuna Rattata run, but hey, learn something new. So there are a lot of trainers on the way to Fuchsia City, and I battled not all of them, but a ton of them. So we're still underleveled, but not as much as we would be. Now, I'm going to go Secret Power and Psychic here. It only does about half, but thankfully Coughing can't do much to Beedrill. It attacked Butterfree on their hand, that would have been a problem, but we knock out the Coughing, so that's good. Sludge, well actually that did quite a bit. So let's get rid of, oh no. Unfortunately, the one miss, even though a Secret Power mattered. Now we're going to try, see, Hyper Potion. This is a problem. We Secret Power and we knock out Coughing with Psychic. We are on our last legs here, and you'll notice something. I have deleted Sleep Powder. I know, look at me, scandalous. Unlike original Red and Blue, there is a move relearner, so I can bring it back later if I need to, but right now, I would actually prefer to have 4 move slots, and I just figured that would be really cheap, so I prefer not to do it. For the record, I fully acknowledge as we battle Koga again, it's one of those decisions I'll make during a run that no matter what, people in the comment section are going to agree with or disagree with. It's going to be controversial, but frankly, I do these things not for the comments, but for my own enjoyment. So yeah, spamming Sleep Powder would be kind of lame as heck, so we're not doing that. And we're making some progress. We've gotten to Wheezing, and we have both our bugs. Now, full heal is a waste of a turn, and we don't knock out Wheezing. Oh, look at that. But what I think might happen here is Hyper Potion, meaning we can Secret Power. Oh, no. Double no. Okay, maybe I counted my chickens before they hatched here. We knocked out Coughing, but I think we're going to get... Yeah. I should just deposit these guys. I should just deposit them. Now, based on my completely arbitrary J-Rose logic, as long as Doduo isn't targeted, we're fine here. But of course, that's exactly what Wheezing does. And you can see I got sick of just resetting for nonsense. So I'm going to send them in the PC. I know. For the record, I am live streaming them. And so I want as little backtracking and boring stuff as possible. When I used to do these runs offline, I was a lot more careful, but it is what it is. All right, so Koga's going to take a 3rd attempt here. And yeah, Mux Minimize is really a problem. I really would like to see Beedrill get critical hits. That's why I went for Focus Energy. Now, the TM Koga gives out is Toxic, and while it's not as big a problem as it is in single battles because the turns are longer and there are less of them, it is still a problem, and so we're going to have to do a 4th try versus Koga. He really does have this team's number, and I did level up before. All right, so Secret Power on Muck, it's Paralyzed, Psychic, Paralyzed, Sludge, okay. All right, so now I'm going to go Focus Energy, Psychic on Coughing. So Muck's not going to heal. I can knock it out with a Psychic. Muck goes for Minimize. I'm actually going to knock out... I didn't want to crit there. I just wanted to damage it a bit more just to make sure Psychic would knock it out. That really sucks. Bad crit hit. Anyway, now Muck is going to heal. I wanted to make sure Psychic knocked it out. I'm going to go Secret Power Psychic on Wheezing, and now I can knock out Wheezing with Psychic. I think Koga heals. Yes. Oh, it's a full heal. Anyway, I get a good crit hit, and I knock out the Wheezing, and now Psychic, I think I actually probably didn't need. Anyway, this Focus Energy is doing really great. You'd think it makes every hit critical, but it doesn't. And as I thought, there is another Hyper Potion. So I'm not sure why he didn't use it on Wheezing, but we're getting close. Beedrill, sadly, will not see the victory, but Butterfree will. And the depositing of the Pokemon, also you double your winning? That's kind of cool. But depositing the Pokemon did prove to be valuable. That is 5 gym badges, and I think it's safe to say it seems like our run is hitting a bit of a wall. Very common in Kanto. The game definitely does increase in difficulty during this portion, and usually one of the most difficult trainers we have to fight is Rival Fivel. Now, there are plenty of trainers in Silph Company I could knock out, but I just want to see how it's going to go. So, Twin Needle Execute, Psychic Pidgeot. Twin Needle, at least at 1-shots overall. That's good. Beedrill gets that level up. Pin Missile, sadly, is worse than Twin Needle, so we can't teach it. Psychic does nothing. Wing Attack is base 60. Alakazam goes for Future Sight, and Twin Needle still knocks it out in one hit. So this is going pretty good, but now out comes Charizard, Butterfree faints, and now it's a Charizard and a Pidgeot, and yeah, that's... All right, so we're gonna have to level up a little bit, or a lottle bit. 20 minutes later. So I battled a bunch of trainers. There are still more, and let's see how we're gonna do. We're at level 40, so we're properly leveled, and I'm gonna use Twin Needle and Execute, and now watch this. Watch this. I go Hidden Power on Charizard. It's super effective because Butterfree's Hidden Power is Hidden Power Rock. Can you believe it? Butterfree got Hidden Power Rock. Now, Butterfree has a pretty pathetic attack stat, but I couldn't believe it. Oh yeah, and by the way, this is a reason I like having Meowth. The only way to get TM10 for Hidden Power is via pickup, which Meowth has. So, thank you, Meowth. You did good. Anyway, we're gonna have to rethink the strategy here. I go Twin Needle Hidden Power again, but I think this just isn't gonna work. Charizard always comes out next. Thankfully, the AI is predictable. All right, so now I'm gonna go Secret Power. Yeah, see, Charizard's just outspeeding me. Beedrill can use Agility, but not Butterfree. Not really sure what to do here. Also, there's another problem that you may have already picked up on, but maybe you didn't. You see, remember I said it's consistent? Well, it was. I was getting Charizard every time, but now I'm getting Alakazam, which is a problem, because if I can't anticipate the Charizard, well then I can't just use Hidden Power there hoping to get a crit or something, which, lame way to win, but not sure what else I'm gonna do at this point. Anyway, Alakazam comes out, so I'm gonna just Psychic Pidgeot. Now Pidgeot's doing quite a bit less. Unfortunately, Psychic does not two-shot. However, we do actually outspeed the Alakazam somehow and knock it out with Twin Needle, which is really weird and really lucky, so yay. Now Pidgeot goes for Feather Dance, which really sucks, but it's not the end of the world. At least it wasn't on Butterfree. Or so I thought, because sadly now we can't knock out Pidgeot with Beedrill, and then Butterfree gets knocked out. But Beedrill's in an interesting position. It can knock out Pidgeot, but oh yeah, there's a Gyarados here. So, forgot about that. And that's Intimidate. Well, the good news is I don't actually have to reset. I can just keep the experience points, which is kind of nice. But yeah, this is it's not going to be an easy battle. I'm actually over-leveled. Sadly, when it came to beating this battle, it just was a matter of leveling up to an absurd degree. At this point, I've battled pretty much every trainer I can, and you can see how much more damage I do to Execute. Not that it really matters. Now Charizard's coming out, which is lovely, but not necessarily a problem, because we can now go Secret Power, Hidden Power, and it should two-shot. So that's what leveling up does. Now Alakazam comes out. Beedrill actually now can tank Double Wing Attack, which is super good. And more than that, we can knock out Alakazam with Twin Needle, but more importantly, as Gyarados uses Intimidate, Butterfree can go for Psychic on the Gyarados, trying to set up a scenario where both Beedrill and Butterfree can team up to knock out one Pokemon. Sadly, we get Quick Attacked, but then I get a clutch crit. Gyarados goes for Bite, and now it's Butterfree versus Gyarados. And after about an hour, look how happy I was. And yeah, this is another long-lost Gyros episode. In fact, this is the run I used to test the double battle and make sure everything was working. This is almost 3 years old, which I'm very embarrassed by, but you guys kept telling me to dig through the archives and see if I had other runs I forgot to publish. So, ta-da! 2022 Gyros, back in the parents' basement. Hilariously enough, I actually think I was supposed to release this video for the original month of Gyros and just forgot. Which is so funny because I desperately needed more videos, but anyway, the second Giovanni fight. This fight would probably be more difficult if we weren't so over-leveled at this point. Psychic doesn't one-shot Kangaskhan, Brick Break does one-shot Nidorino, and then I can Brick Break, knock out Kangaskhan, and I haven't even used Giga Drain yet, but great for rock Pokemon. Finally, we have a move, and now we're at full health for Nidoqueen. Now, Nidoqueen is way better than it was in Red and Blue. We're noticing that. Well, maybe you're not, but I'm noticing that. Well, actually know that. Anyway, they're better. All the Pokemon are better. FireRed and LeafGreen is a harder game. A more fun game, maybe. That's debatable. Love the vintage red and blue, but I do also like playing FireRed, LeafGreen, and sadly, we don't have that much more of it to go. We do just have 3 more gyms. However, we have the Psychic Gym, which I don't think will be that easy, and the Fire Gym, which, yeah, I mean, do you think that will be easy? If so, no. No, fire is good against bugs. I mean, fire is really, in real life, good against everything. It's fire. But in this game, bugs are pretty weak to fire. However, thankfully, those itty-bitty bugs make it very hard to concentrate on your psychic powers or something. I don't really know. But anywho, we can go Twin Needle on Mr. Mime and knock it out because it is super effective. Venomoth comes out. We go for Thief on... Ow, that's a bit of a problem. Okay, Reflect is now up. So I'll go for Twin Needle. Oh, I meant to use that on Kadabra. That was a mistake. But it actually can work out really well. Because even with Reflect, I wonder how much Twin Needle will do to Alakazam. It knocks it out. And now I'm pretty sure Thief will knock out Kadabra. Oh, well, actually, what happens if I change Thief for Silverwind? Oh, it'll just use it. I've never done that before. There aren't really a ton of double battles in FireRed LeafGreen, so I've never had that situation occur, but yay, we won, and we learned something new. The best kind of winning. Winning with knowledge. Actually, we didn't really win with knowledge. We won with some knowledge, some luck, and then learned something. Anyway, Blaine time. Alrighty, so Blaine's gonna have Growlithe and Ponyta, but the bigger issue is that Blaine's gonna hit me with Intimidate. That's specifically gonna be bad for Beedrill, since it's going to be -1 in attack, and then when Arcanine comes out, it's going to be -2. So the best I can really do here is go Secret Power. Ooh, I got a crit. Well, that's actually really good. And unfortunately, I wasn't anticipating that. So I attacked the Rapidash. This is what I was talking about a little bit earlier, where you have to make sure you hit the right Pokemon, because now Growlithe survives and hits me with a Fire Blast, which is not great. So I'm going to go Secret Power on Growlithe, and then I'm going to knock out Rapidash. Growlithe is going to go for Fire Blast, but this time it hits Butterfree, which is perfect. So I'm going to Secret Power, Blaine full heals. I kind of got greedy and double hit Arcanine, so I got really lucky there. But what I should do is Secret Power the Growlithe. Sadly, Growlithe survives, but Arcanine goes for Takedown, and while it knocks out Beedrill, it itself is knocked out via the Takedown recoil. And, oh yeah, I have all these Pokemon. So, yay! We would have won otherwise. That was my bad. That was my bad. This was my first attempt versus Blaine. So Blaine's not as bad as I thought he was going to be. Okay, that's a positive. This, by the way, just goes to show you, sometimes my biggest enemy in these runs is me. I mean, just little things like that. This time, I'm going to go for... Ooh, that didn't go the way it went last time. This time, Ponyta survives. Okay. I think I messed something up. But anyway, we'll knock out both Ponyta and Growlithe. But that means we're now going to have to face both Rapidash and Arcanine at the same time, which is probably going to be a problem. Oh yeah, we got that critical hit before. That's kind of why that worked out the way it did. And that critical hit may have been super duper important, actually. Okay, so maybe Blaine is going to be about as hard as I thought he was going to be. Take 3, mon ami. Look, I speak a little French. Okay, so we're gonna go, let's try, Brick Break, Psychic. Okay, so Fire Blast. Ooh, 1 missed. Nice. All right, so now let's Brick Break Growlithe. Is this really the play? Psychic Ponyta. I mean, Butterfree's at full health this time, so that's good. We did get a miss. And now we go Brick Break, Psychic, Fire Blast. Ooh, we survive. No. Yeah, I should go for Secret Power because of Paralysis. I don't know what to do. I'm only going to try a few more times, and if I can't get it, I'm just going to go and level up a bit more, which sucks, but it's not entirely unanticipated. Okay, so Brick Break, Psychic, Fire Blast, whatever. Brick Break. This time both our Pokemon are hit, but by knocking out both Growlithe and Ponyta, we don't get hit on this turn, but now what? I mean, Sleep Powder would really help. I'm actually going to try Endeavor on... Oh, that worked! That was good. I saved Endeavor, and now... Okay, well, I'll go for Psychic. Hey, a crit! So, So Endeavor, which I've been hiding this whole time, aka I've been waiting for the perfect moment to use it, worked, and then a clutch crit. Truth be told, there's probably a little bit of a smarter strategy in there somewhere, but we didn't need it. After telling Bill we're not going to help him with his Sevi Island quest, a lot of people are shocked you can just say no, and then he waits in the Pokemon Center like a puppy. Seriously, there he is, in the purple. That's Bill. Anyway, we're going to battle the last gym leader, Giovanni 3, or Giovanni, as he prefers to be called, in my head. We're at a high level. We battled a bunch of trainers, and so we're going to go Giga Drain on Rhyhorn. That's pretty effective. Not a lot of rock Pokemon left, but Giga Drain, pretty good for that. And then Twin Needle on Dugtrio doesn't actually knock it out, but what's better is that we get the Clutch Poison, and then Earthquake doesn't hit Butterfree because it's in the air, and it knocks out the other Rhyhorn. There is no Rhydon in FireRed and LeafGreen. Kind of strange. Anyway, I go Secret Power Psychic on Nidoqueen, and it does knock it out, meaning it's just Nidoking against Beedrill Butterfree, and once we do Secret Power Psychic against him, we have 8 gym badges and a dream of beating the game with just 2 bugs. Not bad. Not bad at all. Rival 6 is probably going to be horrific, isn't it? I mean, Rival 5 was terrible, and unlike in a solo run where you can just spam rare candies, there's 2 Pokemon here. We can't really do all that much, even with rare candies. Alrighty, so Rival 6 is going to go Pidgeot and Rhyhorn. We already know what we can do against a Rhyhorn. Against a Pidgeot, we're just going to have to go for Secret Power and hope. So Secret Power doesn't do a lot, but it does paralyze. 30% chance of that. Pretty good. Okay, so now we get Charizard. Wing Attack doesn't do half, which is good. And now we're going to go, I guess, Hidden Power. Wing Attack. Ooh, we still survive. And that didn't do enough. But full paralysis. Pretty good here. Now what do we do? Flamethrower? No, that's a problem. See, if it can just one-shot us with a single flamethrower, we're in trouble. How do I prevent this? I think we need to level up a bit. Say, Bill, old buddy, hey, can you get out of my way? Bill! Yeah, remember how I said I wasn't gonna go, and I said that, you know, I didn't say anything. It's all right. I love you, Bill. Let's go to Sevi Islands. I'm happy to help you with whatever useless garbage you need help with. So after that very important mission, we're slightly higher level. I mean, yay, slightly. Secret Power, Giga Drain. We're going to start the same way. And now Alakazam comes out. Oh, Feather Dance. That's really, really bad. All right. Well, I'm still going to go Twin Needle. And yeah, now we don't knock it out. Psychic on Pidgeot. Ooh, good crit. Good crit. And we level up. Butterfree is now level 53. Future Sight is good. I can Twin Needle and then Hidden Power Fire. Butterfree actually tanks. That's really good. And Charizard's now half HP. Alakazam is fainted. But yeah, now our Hidden Power Rock is going to be bad. Ah, darn. I wish Beedrill had no HP. Oh, well, I didn't mean no HP. I meant very little. No, I got what I wished for, but it was not what it was Monkey's Paw situation. Oh. So after beating some swimmers, I now have a few more levels. Yay. Is that going to make a difference? I don't know. All right, we're going to do the same exact thing. Secret Power, Giga Drain. What's going to come out? I don't know. It could be Alakazam. It could be Charizard. Pidgeot doesn't move. Okay. Now I'm going to try Secret Power, Hidden Power. Does that knock it out? Well, we do tank it still. No, that's not going to knock it out. Not even close. But it is paralyzed. Now, Butterfree gets Feather Danced, which isn't actually that bad. Because what I can do here... Well, honestly, I could just use Hidden Power Rock against Charizard still and knock it out. And then try to knock out Pidgeot with Beedrill. It doesn't work, but we get a clutch hit and paralysis. Now we can Twin Needle because our attack isn't lowered on Beedrill. Knockout Execute, and then Psychic Pidgeot, meaning it's just going to be Gyarados with -1 attack now for us, and Alakazam versus Butterfree and Beedrill. Somehow Butterfree has survived. Twin Needle. Oh, that crit mattered. That crit mattered, and that means Silver Wind's not going to do very much. Rain Dance. Oh, I think we got this. Unfortunately, I can't use Endeavor. I'm going to go for Secret Power and then Psychic. Secret Power, no paralysis. Psychic does a lot. Hydro Pump knocks out Butterfree. I'm going to go Secret Power, Beedrill. Hydro Pump misses. Do we have it? No! Oh, well, that did very little. We have it now! Yay! Go, Beedrill! Finally! Finally! Beedrill's been really good, but it just hasn't survived. It's funny, I kind of conflated those two and just assumed what would survive would be more useful, but arguably they've both been kind of equally useful, just Beedrill has been fainting quicker. So, interesting what's been going on, but it's nice to see Beedrill finally get its due and be the last one standing. That was Rival 6, the Elite Four are going to be a nightmare. I mean, Loralee, I don't know. And then even Bruno in this game is kind of tough. This is going to be rough. And then, oh yeah, Agatha. All right, let's just skip ahead. Do we really need a preamble? You guys know, it's going to suck. All right, so Loralee's going to lead Dugong and Cloyster. I forgot to heal. How does that even happen? It doesn't matter. Let's just see what happens here. I go Brick Break. Okay, Crit doesn't even knock it out. And Giga Drain doesn't knock it out. That's going to be a problem. Both Pokemon go for Hail. I kind of expected that because they always like to go for Hail if Hail isn't set up. So that's something we can use. Full Restore on Dugong. Cloyster uses Protect. We can Brick Break, and then I went for Giga Drain on Cloyster. I didn't know which would get the potion, to be fair. Okay. We can knock out both these Pokemon, honestly, and we're going to go Brick Break and Silver Wind for the Omni Boost. Come on, Omni Boost. Let's go, Omni Boost. No, we don't get it. All right, Jinx. I think Twin Needle. All right, so our bug attacks are super effective. Here's what we're going to do. Twin Needle, one-shots Jinx. Very good. Giga Drain, that's decent enough. Slowbro goes for Yawn. Ugh, that's a problem. But what we can do here is we can Endeavor Lapras and then go for Giga Drain. And that should knock out Lapras. And now all that's left is Slowbro. So in fact, all right, Beedrill faints, but, oh, and now we're asleep. All right, Ice Beam, oh yeah, that's a problem. Amnesia, okay, well, I have Silver Wind. Amnesia again, all right, am I waking up? No. Yawn, well, that's not a problem. Silver Wind, and an Omni Boost. Okay, okay, okay. Ice Beam, I'm frozen. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Boo. That was lame. So I did lose my second try, but on my third try, I wonder why I'm showing you this battle. I do heal this time, although funny enough, not healing was kind of helpful. I do the exact same thing I did the first time. We're going to get the double hail every time, and now we're going to get Cloyster likely getting the heal here. So yeah, full restore on Cloyster, meaning Brick Break on Dugong. That means I can get the Giga Drain on Cloyster. Hail doesn't do anything useful, it just does damage. And since Slowbro isn't an ice type, it does damage to it too. So I'm going to go Twin Needle and let's go Silver Wind. Try to get the Omni Boost. It's very helpful if we do. Ooh, we get a Poison on Slowbro. Very lucky there. Beedrill gets a level up. Very nice. Yawn on Beedrill. Very not nice. But I think we're in a good situation. We can Twin Needle and one-shot Jinx. And then against Slowbro, we can go for Giga Drain. Lapras has full HP, and Beedrill's about to fall asleep. So it's essentially a 1v1 here, but Lapras may target the wrong Pokemon. So I'm gonna go for Giga Drain. It doesn't do that much. Lapras goes for Confuse Ray. All right, targeted the wrong Pokemon. I'm asleep. Giga Drain. All right, it's gonna be a 4-shot, and it Ice Beamed the wrong Pokemon. Citrus Berry. All right, come on. Let's go Double Edge, actually. Should I go Double Edge? Oh no, I'm out of Giga Drains too. I'll go Hidden Power Rock. Not bad. Butterfree's confused now, too. I think Beedrill... Oh, doesn't wake up yet. Butterfree hits itself in confusion. Ice Beam on Butterfree. This is getting kind of bad. Beedrill hits itself in confusion. Butterfree hits itself in confusion. All right, well, maybe this will knock it out. Oh, it does! Yay! Okay, so that was actually not the way I thought that would go. But once again, Beedrill comes through in the clutch. And, I almost snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, but to be quite honest, with that last turn, it's more like I snatched victories from the jaws of defeat. Very back and forth game there. Moving on to Bruno, I know he's a meme in Red and Blue, but he's not in, especially this. In a double battle, it's very difficult to pick off and isolate his Pokemon. So what I think I'm going to do is Double Edge Hitmonchan. It's my strongest attack. And then Giga Drain Onix. I didn't think that wouldn't knock it out. Wow, that was like a triple negative. Rock Tomb on Beedrill sucks, because now I'm slower. All right, so what I think I'm going to do is try... God, no, I can't go Endeavor because I'm slow. I'm just going to go Double Edge, Psychic on Machamp. Hitmonchan goes for Rock Tomb. It doesn't one-shot, and we do knock out Hitmonchan, but you can see all these Rock Tombs, a big problem. Bulk Up, all right, and Citrus Berry. Ugh, that's going to be a problem. So Mega Kick knocks out Beedrill. Psychic does knock out Machamp, which is good. And so, all right, Facade. Oh, if I didn't get the speed drop, I actually think I could have won there, but oh well, progress. Now, you may have noticed I'm not really using any held items. And there's a really great held item in Gen 3, Leftovers. Leftovers is excellent. I'd love it. The problem is getting Leftovers is a pain. You need to get the item finder, which means you need to register 50 Pokemon, which in a solo or duo run is not something you typically would do. But if you ever encounter a little bit of resistance, Leftovers can be a really easy way, and it's not really that cheap. I mean, held items are part of the game. I just gotta catch some stuff. Well, a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, I got bored and started thinking maybe I could do this without item finder, and so I'm going to try again. For the record, I'm not saving between trainers because I'm nuts or something. And this time I went for a different strategy of trying to keep Onix around a little bit. Seems like it's actually a bit of a mistake here. I will knock out both Pokemon, but Beedrill has taken 2 Rock Tombs, meaning it's very slow, and now Butterfree's taken a Rock Tomb. Yeah, this looks like a massive mistake. Although, Beedrill is going to be able to use Endeavor if it wants to. It's just very slow. So, Onix goes for Double Edge, which is great. I Giga Drain. That's actually really, really good. Now Hitmonlee. Bulk Up is actually perfect. I go for Endeavor. Citrus Berry will trigger, so no heal. I can then Endeavor on Hitmonlee. Mega Kick, I survive. Psychic, I actually knock out Machamp. I still outspeed, even -1 speed. And then Endeavor on Hitmonlee. I actually think we got this. I think we got this. Butterfree's going to faint, but Double Edge. And once again, Beedrill, last Mon standing. And we've made it to Agatha. Now, let me be clear. Lefties would still probably be kind of helpful, but we have made a little bit of progress, so we take those. All right, so Agatha's different. She's better, but not as random. Unfortunately, Beedrill's going to have a very hard time hitting her ghost Pokemon. And this Gengar is a Trolley Gengar, which in a double battle, as you can see, is miserable. Also, Golbat has Air Cutter, which hits both Pokemon. So Gengar has Shadow Punch, which does very little, and Beedrill's on very low HP, which is pretty cool, because we can just go for Endeavor on some things. Now, it looks like I screwed up a little bit, because I did, but Arbok is going to heal, Gengar goes for Toxic, which is nice, and then Beedrill... Oh, I didn't do that properly. Okay. Well, you saw what I was going for there. That's not what I ended up doing, but... Oh, Arbok is withdrawn for Haunter. Okay, Twin Needle misses, but Psychic one-shots. All right, this is interesting. Sadly, Beedrill is going to be hit by Intimidate again, but that's not a big problem. Now we can knock out both Pokemon in 2v1. Ah, Beedrill gets knocked out. All right, we got Arbok. That's pretty good. We're level 61. Can Butterfree with Psychic do this? Full Restore. Oh, this is not looking good. Sludge Bomb. Okay, this is looking now very, very bad. It's too bad we couldn't have hit Gengar when we had the opportunity. And yeah, we're not winning that 2v1. We white out. So, an hour of real time, which is about 3 hours of in-game time later, we can use the item finder, and sadly, the only way you can get leftovers is with the item finder. You can't just do it normally, which, I don't know, it is what it is. But now we do have, and you can get 2 of them if you want. With or without leftovers, the strategy for Lorelee is the same, but Bruno, I had a bit of a new strategy. Actually, it's not really about the leftovers. I'm trying a Sharp Beak Aerial Ace strat with Beedrill. Didn't work as well as I'd hoped it would. Butterfree has the leftovers. You'll see Beedrill not gaining any HP back. But with Endeavor, this isn't a big deal. It can... Oh, Sky Uppercut. That's terrible. It can knock out Hitmonchan. And then, unfortunately, gets knocked out rather early. But you'll see that Butterfree by itself can actually take out the rest of Bruno's team, which is pretty cool. We're going to have to do this many more times, and probably Beedrill will fare better most of those times, but... Yeah, good to know that Bruno seems relatively consistent. Now, you may have noticed I didn't give Butterfree leftovers. I actually had the Miracle Seed equipped, but it was supposed to have leftovers here. I actually forgot to equip it. Beedrill, I still have the Sharp Beak with Aerial Ace, because of how annoying Gengar is and trying to knock it out, which I'm not sure if the Sharp Beak contributed to that, but I'm going to say it did. I don't think it did. Anyway, now we know we one-shot Haunter, so we're going to double-edge Golbat and then Psychic Haunter, and now all that's left is Arbok and the final Gengar. Well, as this Golbat, of course. Butterfree gets confused, which is really annoying, but I think I can still knock out... Oh, I can't. That sucks. Oh, that sucks, and I'm poisoned. Oh, okay. Well, I don't think Beedrill can do this alone. I mean, the Aerial Ace is a pretty interesting move, and I can Endeavor here. Look at that. Oh, well, I guess I should Endeavor now. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, okay. Well, good thing I have leftovers because I can always pivot to that, but that didn't work nearly as well as I thought it would. All right, so let's try again. Don't forget, every time I lose, I go back through the Elite Four, which is annoying. But what we're going to do is I'm going to go, you know what? Let's do Aerial Ace Psychic. Yeah, Aerial Ace Psychic. Still not sure exactly what to do here. Knocking out this Gengar, though, seems optimal. It's just so trolly and annoying. All right, so we did that. Arbok comes out. Now our attack is lowered. That is pretty frustrating. Air Cutter is also kind of frustrating. And you can see I now have leftovers on both my Pokemon, so I have changed strategies. Leftovers are good. More HP equals better. I now try to knock out Golbat, and with Double Edge plus Psychic, we do. Now comes Haunter, Screech, not a big problem. And look at that, more HP. Double Edge on Arbok. Oh, we actually got a crit. That's unexpected, very nice. And then Psychic on Haunter, 2v1 now. Sadly, our Beedrill, unless we get another crit, it's not going to be doing all that much. I'm just going to go for Aerial Ace, Shadow Ball. All right, you know what? It's fine. Oh, okay, this is really good. And the Citrus Berry, you know what? Perfect. Well, Gengar has Hypnosis, so flashbacks to Gen 1 Agatha, but thankfully it missed there. That would have been very, very not great. But we get the victory here, and for the very first time, we've made it to Lance. But Lance has a problem we have already seen with other trainers, Intimidate. And unlike other trainers, Lance is going to have Intimidate hit immediately. So Beedrill is going to have to use Endeavor more than usual, which, it is what it is. All right, we have Gyarados and a Dragonair. So I guess I'm going to go Double Edge. Oh, I forgot to heal Power Points. And Psychic. Psychic, oh, that did nothing. Double Dragon Rage. All right, so now I can do... All right, you know what? Just... Double Edge Psychic, I guess. All right, this will work. Oh, wait, no. I meant to hit... Okay, well, that was a mistake. I meant to hit Gyarados. It doesn't really matter now, does it, what I do here? Full Restore on Gyarados. Guess I'll try and knock out Dragonair. It looks like it's maybe a two-shot on Dragonair. Not really sure. And now Dragonite comes out. All right, this is going to be kind of a massive problem. I'm just going to gain experience points here. I don't mind losing the money at this point. Experience points are pretty hard to come by, so... However, we do need to be careful because Ethers and Elixirs don't respawn. So, yeah, I don't know what to do. I guess we'll reset. After intentionally losing to Lorelie and Bruno a few times to grind some experience, we make it back to Lance. And you can see... I'm actually still in grinding experience point mode. This means no wasting money on potions and no using PowerPoint restoring items because we have no intention of winning. Does playing like this suck a little bit? Sure, but in a kind of weird way, it is the fastest way to play the game. This is the quickest way to gain experience points. Yes, we can rebattle trainers, but they're far lower leveled and you have to run around and then you have to wait till it recharges. By battling the Elite Four, not only do we gain a ton of experience points very quickly, but in addition, we can see how much damage our moves do to Lance's Pokemon, how much damage Lance does to me. It's all useful information which will let me know when we finally leveled up enough. It's actually becoming harder to intentionally lose quickly to Bruno or to Lorelie. And we're beating Agatha pretty easily, which is kind of nice. And we're getting to a point where we might be able to 3-shot Gyarados, which is what we want. Or 2-shot would be ideal. So you'll see I'll finish off Gyarados with a Psychic and hit Dragonair with a Double Edge. Dragonite comes out. Ooh, Safeguard's pretty good. And the leftovers, they are doing pretty good work here. So, what do I want to do? I want to knock out the Dragonair. Ooh, Double Edge did it. Okay, good to know that. We're at level 68 now. Aerodactyl comes out. Oh, that doesn't do nearly enough. All right, yeah, Aerodactyl's going to be maybe a pretty big problem. How much do we do? Oh my god, it has Ancient Power. Forgot about that. So that's a 60 base power rock move, which is quad effective against Butterfree, and we did, like, nothing to it. I don't want to resort to sleep strats. I think we can do this without sleep, but, man, and for the record, Aerodactyl is fast enough that I don't think we outspeed. You can see I'm looking at my speed right now. I don't know what to do. Well, all I can do is just keep leveling up, and now we're at level 72. About 20 levels over leveled, and we're still having a very hard time. Part of the big problem is Gyarados. The fact that Beedrill can't attack the way it used to really stinks. We do get a 2-shot with a critical hit, which is kind of nice, but Aerodactyl is the big problem here. So we're going to try and knock out Dragonite first, because Dragonair isn't nearly as scary, and Dragonair doesn't have wing attack. Now, Beedrill can theoretically go for Endeavor if it wants to, and it does outspeed. So we could do Endeavor on Dragonair and then Psychic. Now the reason... Oh no, Beedrill faints. Yeah, the reason I did that was to try and goad a potential heal, but you may have noticed something. I've saved in front of Lance. That's right. My options were pretty limited. I'm already leveled a little higher than I'd like, and my choice was either to go for some sleep strats or to save in front. You can see here, without a critical hit, you're not 2-shotting Gyarados, even at level 72. This was a lot harder than I thought it would be. A lot harder than I thought it would be. I've actually spent about an hour just trying to beat Lance, and I've saved in front of him. Beedrill is now pretty weak in HP, and so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go Double Edge and Psychic. Beedrill's HP is low enough, even with the lefty's recovery. Okay, that Hyper Beam's not a problem. That I think I can go Endeavor Psychic and knock out Dragonite, which is what happens. So that's really good, because... Wait a minute. Will this work? Endeavor Psychic? Wait, we outspeed? Let's go! That's the first time I've knocked out Aerodactyl. Hyper Beam. Okay, I think we got this. I actually think we got this. We're going to go Endeavor on the other Dragonair. Psychic on the one on the left. I'm paralyzed. That's not a problem. And we got this. Holy mackerel, I'm out of Psychics. Silverwind Omniboost. That's just cherry on top of the sundae. Brick Break. And for the first time in, oh god, it feels like forever, I've made it to the champion. Now, both Rival 5 and Rival 6 were kind of nightmares. So I don't anticipate the champion being easy. We've leveled up, and we have lefties, and we can use our elixir now. You can see as I scroll through my items, I didn't have any more PowerPoint restoring items really left, and I want to use them all now before our final battle. And so, all right, Double Edge 6, I think we can... Actually, I have an Ether. So we're going to heal up all my PowerPoints, we're going to save, and we're going to hope for the best. We have to win at level 72. And if we don't, I'm just going to call this a loss because I don't know what else to do. Let's hope for the best. Pidgeot and Alakazam versus Butterfree and Beedrill. Twin Needle and Psychic, maybe Hidden Power Rock. Twin Needle knocks out Alakazam. Very good. And now I hope I don't see Feather Dance. Of course I do. That sucks. All right. Not the end of the world, but definitely sucks. Giga Drain on Rhydon, I hope one-shots it. It does. Pidgeot's still kicking, but that's okay. Charizard's the real problem. Aerial Ace, that crit sucks, and it's on Butterfree too. So no Endeavor strat. This is looking like a loss here. I'll just try for a crit. Double Edge, don't get it. Hidden Power Rock, not enough. Fire Blast knocks out Beedrill. Sand Attack, well, I do have Compound Eyes. I can knock out Charizard here. And, you know, progress. Funny enough, if the Rhydon came out here, I could gain all my HP back, but yeah. First try, no victory for us. God, that really sucks. All right, well, take two. You didn't think this was going to take one attempt, did you? So, same thing. Twin Needle on Alakazam, and then against... You know what we could do? I could just go Giga Drain and knock out Rhydon, just to kind of see what's going to come out next. All right, it's Charizard. Feather Dance on Butterfree. That's also very bad. I don't think we can knock out Charizard now. So I go Double Edge and Hidden Power Rock. Yeah, we don't knock it out, and we got to reset. So we pretty much just need Pidgeot, it seems, not to use Feather Dance. I don't know if that guarantees a win, but it would be a good step. All right, try it again. I can't knock out Pidgeot, but I guess damaging it was the play. So we knock out Alakazam, and now we're going to use Hidden Power Rock against Pidgeot. Aerial Ace. Okay, that works. Now I can go Double Edge. Double Edge on Pidgeot, Giga Drain on Rhydon. Double Edge with a crit. Maybe it mattered. I don't know, but it knocked out Pidgeot. Giga Drain on Rhydon. Now we have a completely different loadout here. We have Executor Charizard. I can deal with Executor, but I don't want to. I'm going to go Double Edge, Hidden Power Rock, and knock out Charizard, leaving Gyarados and Executor. Executor goes for Sleep Powder. It misses. Now I'm going to go Twin Needle, and I'm going to go Psychic. Twin Needle does not knock out Executor, and look at my face! I can't believe it! Now Butterfree is asleep. Oh my goodness, I completely underestimated Executor's defense. This is quad effective. But since Executor healed and Gyarados uses Dragon Rage, we're still in a good position. Twin Needle will now knock out Executor. It is 2v1 with the sleeping Butterfree. Butterfree stays asleep. Dragon Rage, not a problem. Lefties is pretty much healing that. We're going to go Double Edge Psychic. Double Edge does good. We're still asleep, and Thrash is bad. But I think if we wake up, we got this. Double Edge, we wake up, we got this. I'm actually stunned how difficult this got right at the end. It really goes to show you how much tougher double battles are than single battles. With single battles, we can isolate each Pokemon and really pick up on its individual weaknesses. Here, that was so much more difficult. And now I'm really scared for when I inevitably do the Plusle Mine and Run. Oh my god, that's going to be even more difficult. But that's for another video. There are 2 more videos coming out on this channel, and then 1 more, maybe 2 on the other channel. So I got to get back to work. Thank you so much for watching. I can't believe this video took as long as it did, and I'll see you all soon. Take care.